Okay, we are recording. All right, so I want to welcome you all to week 3 of our Dash to Diamond calls. And today I'm going to be talking about, telling your story, building your brand, and why it's so important. I know we've all heard this before, but I think sometimes we forget why it's probably one of the most important things you can do for your business. So I'm hopefully going to touch on some points that maybe you've never thought about before, or you haven't heard before, or just need to hear in a different way, because sometimes it's just good to hear things in a different way, right? Okay. All right, so let me go. I'm going to slide screen share and go to PowerPoint. If I can, let's see, screen share. Bear with me. Lauren, you got to lower that a little bit, okay, sweetheart? And then, let's see. Sorry, guys, slideshow. Okay, you guys can see that? All right. Ooh, did everyone get a whole bunch of echoing? It's kind of weird, right? Okay. So, transformation stories inspire. Somebody not muted. I'm going to mute everybody. That's what it is. Okay, there we go. All right, so transformation stories inspire. We all have our own story, and our story is ours. It's nobody else's. Everybody's story is going to be completely and totally different. Some of us have stories where we lost 5 pounds. Some of us have stories where we lost 100 pounds. Some of us, our story is more of an emotional transformation. Some of us, our story is more of a financial transformation or other things that you have achieved out of this business. And that is your transformation. So whatever your transformation is, use that to your advantage. Don't ever shy away from it because your transformation is 5 pounds and not 100 pounds. As you can see from my pictures, I didn't lose a drastic amount of weight. I probably lost 10 or 12 pounds. And my transformation is definitely more of an emotional transformation. And I own that. And that's what I talk about all the time. Obviously now I'm in a different point of my life where I'm going through a completely different transformation, and I'm trying to own that as much as I can, and will continue to do post-pregnancy as well. So always always be sharing your before and after, no matter how little or small you think it is. And if it's something small, like if you look at my first picture, obviously it's only about a 10-pound difference, but there was a lot more emotion and feeling behind those pictures, the before and after. So when I'm talking about my story and I'm sharing my story, I always talk about how I felt and the emotional reasons, and how it more affected me personally than anything else. And also even health-wise, you can't always see health in someone's photo. You can't tell the unhealthiness that I was feeling in the first photo as compared to the second photo. So, they say pictures tell 1,000 words, but sometimes our pictures don't. So we have to elaborate on those, I guess you could say. So like I said, everyone's story is going to be different. Your story is going to be why people are going to contact you. So maybe your story is that you lost 50 pounds, and that's your big transformation, and that's going to be why people connect to you, and that's going to be why people contact you. Maybe your story is more financial. Maybe you started this business because you needed to make $50 a week or $100 a week. And that's your big transformation. And that's why people are going to connect to you and contact you. Or maybe it's more like in my case, where it was more of an emotional and a personal transformation. And as long as I continue to share that story, that's the type of person that I'm going to connect, and they're going to come to me. And always share your business. Always share what your business is doing for you and how it's helping you. It might not be that you're making $1 million, and that's okay. A majority of us aren't. But if you're able to pay for gas or pay for groceries or pay for your kids' ballet, whatever you're able to pay for, or however you're able to use that $50 a week, $100 a week, whatever you're making, talk about it. Because that's going to connect to somebody. And usually, I have to say, when I talk about the smaller things as opposed to the grander things I'm able to do with my check each week, that's the things that connect with people. When I talk about how I can pay for my daughter's activities, that's the thing that grabs people's attention. It's not that I can, pay for my mortgage. It's not as attainable in that moment. So don't ever think that only being able to pay for a week's worth of groceries is not a big deal, because it's a big deal for somebody. Someone's always watching you. Someone's always looking. So be consistent. Show you're a product of the product. Be a proof of the product of the product. Talk about your struggles. Don't just talk about the high notes. Talk about where you're faltering. If you don't work out for a week and you eat a box of donuts, be open about that. But don't just say, oh, I ate a box of donuts. Talk about why you did it, how it made you feel, what you're going to do to get back on track. And once you're back on track, how that's making you feel. Constantly put your emotion into it and your feelings into it and make it a true inspirational story. Now, let's see. And when you're talking about your business, don't view it as bragging, because you're not bragging. If you're just sharing, it's not bragging. I know sometimes it can be difficult to talk about finances and talk about money, but if you're being an open book and you're being honest, it's not bragging, so don't feel like it is. Now let's see, how do I get to the next slide? Trying to get to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so you are your brand. You have to develop your brand. Developing your story means you're developing your niche market, which means you're developing your brand. So without developing your brand, your marketing is going to be generic. It's not going to be as effective as you want it to be. And you're not necessarily going to attract people that you relate to. And that's going to create an uphill battle for you. When you relate to the people on your team, when you're in similar situations, when you're able to talk to each other, it's easier to come together. It's more fun. It's a nicer atmosphere. And it's just not as much of a struggle. So developing your story, in turn turning into your niche market and your brand, is going to make things easier for you, and it's going to make things more enjoyable. Once you understand your brand, marketing becomes more second nature. Like I said, it can become more fun because you feel like you can be a little bit more open with how you want to be open. You'll be able to better connect with your customers and your team because you guys are all kind of be on the same page. A better connection means more trust, which in turn obviously becomes a longer successful business. So what you want to do is, in developing your brand and creating your niche market, and I know we've all heard this before, but let's really do it this time. Let's move forward doing it, is make a list of characteristics. Who do you see as your ideal customer, your ideal challenger? So who are they? What do they do for a living? What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? What type of personality do they have? Are they married? Are they single? Are they kids? How old are they? But go deeper than that. Be really specific. What are their fears? What are their goals? What are their worries? Because chances are their worries are going to be your worries and your fears and your goals, and you'll be able to speak to those. Excuse me. So think back to what your fears were before you signed up as a coach, and understand them how you can answer them. What questions did you have before you became a coach? And then you're going to use all of this to create your posts moving forward. You're going to speak to this person. You're going to speak to their what they're looking for in life. You're going to speak to their fears. You're going to speak to their goals. You're going to speak to their worries. So let me, again, I forgot how I switched slides before. Hold on. I forgot how I switched. Here. There we go. Okay. So this is what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to actually create a person. You can create an avatar. You can find a generic person that is similar to you on the web, or you can use your own picture, but create a person. Like really get into it and create them. So my person it's not much different than me. Like, this is my girl. Her name's Deanna. Sounds like Dana, right? We've all seen people do these before. So who is she? She's in her mid-30s, early 40s, but she's young at heart. Like, geez, do I feel like I'm in my late 30s? Not really. I feel like I could be 25 and still going out dancing with the girls sometimes. Not right at the moment because I'd probably fall over, but in general. She can't spell because if you'll notice all of my slides, they have about a million spelling errors, even though I did go back and proofread all of them. So her family's her life. Her family comes first. Her kids and her husband, they come first. She is the mom to some crazy school-age kids. You know, she's just kind of starting to get the hang of things. This is a new ad to me. You know, she's possibly pregnant, or a new mom has a new baby. She takes care of herself last. How many of us take care of ourselves absolutely last, to the point where sometimes we don't even get to ourselves? The dog goes out and gets food and water before we do. She's happily married. I'm happily married, and that's just what I tend to connect with more. She's an at-home mom, or has the desire to be an at-home mom. She feels like she lost her true self in becoming a mom and wife, and that's something that I've always felt, and that's going back to who I used to be. She has low self-confidence. She picks her appearance apart. She assumes all MLMs are a waste of time and money and are just too good to be true. Thinks Shakeology is way overpriced and a quick fix. Feels like something is missing from her life. Feels unfulfilled and guilty about that because her family should fulfill her. And would love to find a purpose or a way to make her mark in the world. So that's the type of person that I connect with, because that's the type of person sometimes I am, and a lot of times I was prior to getting involved in Beachbody. So that's the type of person that I speak to, that I talk to. Let me see where I left off when I was writing. So this is something I want you guys to do. I want you to create and name your person. You want to know what inspires your person. What worries does she have, and how can you help her with them and appeal to them? What's wrong, sweetie? Lauren, if you have to go to the bathroom, you need to go on your own. Well, go, sweetie. I'm sorry. Go. Lauren, you have to go to the bathroom. Mommy can't stop. Go. By doing this, by having this in front of you, by being able to use it, you're going to be able to really connect with someone through your post. Sorry, my daughter is running in circles because she has to go to the bathroom. Just go. You know, it's going to help. It's going to help the person on the other end know that you truly understand them, that you really do get where they're coming from, and that you're going to be able to help them with what they're going through. It's going to help you build connections, and to having people want to connect with you. Sharing you and your story is what builds that connection. You can't try and sell, or not sell, you can't try and share someone else's story. I'm not going to try and share Jen's story or Trisha's story or Trudy's story, or pretend I know what it's like to lose 100 pounds, because I don't. I'm going to continue to share my story and connect with the people that are in my boat, to the people that understand me and what I'm going through. Sorry, I got way off with my daughter. Run into the bathroom. All right, so now you have your ideal customer. How can you add value to your ideal customer? Lauren, you're gonna have to deal with that. I'm sorry, sweetie. Now you can add value. So you have to think, what can I give to this person? What skills and talents and knowledge do I have now, or that I've acquired since becoming a Beachbody coach that can help this person? And don't undervalue yourself. What you might see as something simple can be totally overwhelming for someone else. Maybe, for example, you're excellent at meal planning. A lot of people get really overwhelmed with meal planning. So that's something that you can bring to the table. I know I'm horrible at meal planning, but I'm really good at simplifying the 21-day fix. So you have to think about what skills you have. Are you an amazing motivator? Are you great at inspiring people? Whatever your talents, your skills are, don't undervalue them. Figure out a way to use them moving forward. Think about what you would want to be helped with. What did you need help with when you first started? And that's the stuff that you want to offer value to. All right, I have to pause really quick. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Lauren. What's going on? Tell me what's wrong. I know there's something. It might not be clear, and that's why you're here. Oh, sorry about that. See, you never know what you're going to get when you're doing a call with a preschooler at home, right? Okay. All right. So this is what you're going to want to be doing. This is what you're going to want to be talking about. And this is how you're going to add value into people's lives. Knowing your person's worries is something that's important. For me, I am a mom and I'm busy and I'm always running around. So I know for me, a lot of times the worry is it'll be too time consuming because I'm just too busy. I have no time for myself. Like I said, I always put myself last. How am I going to have time to squeeze this in? So when I'm talking in my posts, when I'm talking about my workouts, when I'm still doing them, and my food and what I'm eating, I always talked about how my workouts were 30 minutes or less, and that I could sneak them in the morning if I was up early enough, in the afternoon, whenever I could. I talked about how they really just didn't take up much time in my day. I like talking about the 21-day fix as a meal plan for me because I'm not a Sunday meal planner. That's something that confuses me. It's overwhelming to me, and so I like to talk about how simple using the containers are, and how I'm able to still cook a meal for my family, but use the containers and eat the same food that they're eating, but stick to my plan. So I like to talk about how simplified this can be for a busy mom. And that's what I talk about in my post. I don't talk about really how if I do the 21-day fix, I'm going to lose this much weight. Or if I do Body Beast or Hammer and Chisel, I'm going to gain this much muscle. That's just not who I'm speaking to. That's not my ideal customer. And that's not who I'm going to connect with. So you have to ask yourself if what I'm posting on a daily basis or speaking about on a daily basis is going to help my person in their life and with their goals. Shakeology is too expensive, way too much money. That's another thing I get, especially for moms who put themselves last. So that's another thing I like to address in my post all the time. But I don't address it in, there are so many vitamins and so many this, that, and so many this, and this is why it costs so much to make. I address it in why it's valuable to me and why it's valuable to my family. Another thing is this business is a scam. How many often do you get this business is a scam, or it's like it's a pyramid scheme? So I try to address that in my things. I constantly talk about how this business is helping my family, helping our future, and what it has done for us. Be it, like I said, little or big, I constantly talk about how even though I had doubts in the beginning, it's proven to be something real and it's helped my family. So that's how I go about addressing things that I feel that my ideal customer is going to say to me before they say it to me, if that makes sense. So now what you want to do is you want to take this a step forward. Go one step more and turn this into who is your ideal coach. So on top of your little avatar that you've created, let's come up with 10 characteristics that you want in your coaches, in your ideal coaches, the people that you truly want to attract. Write down that list of 10 things. And then the hardest part, rate yourself. See, rate yourself. Rate yourself on each item. Which ones can you improve on, and which ones do you feel that you're really good at? Because the fact of the matter is, if you want to attract this type of person, you're going to have to be the best example of those characteristics. So how can you improve? Find personal development to help you develop in those areas and improve upon them. And if you look at your team now, if you look at your coaches now, the chances are you'll see that the majority of your coaches, and I'm not going to say all of them because that's definitely not the case, but the majority have the same strengths and the same weaknesses that you do. So you want to learn how to work on those weaknesses together. I don't even know what that last word is. Work on areas that you need improvement with PD geared in that direction. This is a pretty sad display. And I actually went through and proofread all these slides, which is even sadder. Good grief. I should have sent them to you, Trisha, like I usually do. I always send you my slides, and you always give me the thumbs up. I don't even know if you read them. What do you send them on to Carol to proofread them? Good grief. So this is a little bit of a hard one, is not the writing down of 10 things. I think we can all probably come up with 10 things that we want to see in our coaches, but then going back and rating ourselves and being honest about it. That's the part that's going to be difficult. So I do have a call to action for you guys. I'm sorry again that this call was a little bit all over the place with Lauren and everything and sporadic, but okay. So here's the deal. If you want to create a consistent message, you need to connect with your customers. Who it is that you want to help, to develop your story, to truly connect with them, and 3, show them that you understand what they are going through and that you can help them get there. And maybe even eventually help them pay it forward, which is our ultimate goal, right? Sharing your story is going to be your best way to connect with these people, your best way to build trust, your best way to build relationships. Because it's your story, it's nobody else's story, and that's what they're going to connect with you over. So my call to action for you guys for this week is to create your ideal customer character list and create your visual. And then it's also to make your list of 10 characteristics that you'd like to see in your ideal coach, and rate yourself. And I'd love to see both of them shared in our Dash to Diamond group page. And it was a short and sweet call. That's what I have for you guys today. So let me stop sharing. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you want to talk about? No. That's it? Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys getting on. Thank you. I know it's a little tricky in the afternoon, and as you can see, it's tricky for me too. So I appreciate it. I hope you got something out of this call. Thank you very much for hopping on.
Thanks, Dana.
Great call. Thanks, Dana. Will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
In the comments, maybe underneath this post, will you write out that call to action?
Write it
Or is that a
out.
pain? Well,
You want
because
me to write it out, or can I just post the slide?
No, just tell me. Yeah, or just tell me. I know it was create the.
I'll post the slide. I'll post the slide in the thing.
Okay.
I'll post it on the post.
Do you want to share all those slides?
Do you
Even
want
the
me
ones
to?
that are not spelled correctly? I asked Jen in the last one,